Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Creators Outlet, sponsored by our friends over at the Inked Marketing Team. You need that little extra kick to get your Inked Marketing Team will get you over the hump for your Indiegogo or Kickstarter. Contact Evan Gillette over at Inked Marketing. Just go to www.inked.marketing today. Who want us to remind you that the award-winning series from Monty Michael Moore is back. That's right. Loco Hero 2 now live on Kickstarter. Get your copy today. Just go to inked.pub/Loco Hero 2. And today we are joined by our special guest, the Clapback Kid, Mr. 5-star himself, Tony Klapper.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's going on? He's over in the BK drive-through getting me a Whopper or something.
Yeah. I had to go through the drive-through.
Had to go through a drive-through. He's having a couple of computer issues tonight, and but we still wanted to come on and talk about what's going on. You know, I was highly entertained by the NWO videos between you and Michael. So
yeah, man. It was fun. It was a fun way to. Hope everybody can hear me. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, just 1 second. It was a fun way to kind of launch. So I was going to be in Cleveland for a weekend. I was taking my kids to the zoo up there, or Columbus, sorry. Mm-hmm. And, Mike lives in Columbus, and we had already talked about me joining Freestyle Comics. And I was like, I don't want to waste this opportunity. You know, Mike wanted to, we wanted to plan everything and get everything worked out and make it to where, we knew everything and had all of our ducks in a row before I went over. And I'm like, yo, why don't we don't want to waste this opportunity. Let's do something fun. And he was, we were brainstorming ideas, and Danny Cooper showed the FSK NWO inspired logo. And I was like, this would be cool if we did some kind of fake like wrestling promo type deal. So I told him, I said, I'm going to put out this sneak diss. I'm going to attack Hot Shot. And you guys build off of that. So then the meme war started, and it lasted for 2 days, and we knew the end result would be us, revealing that I was part of FSK. So
yeah, I just happened to be cruising around before a stream, and I was in the chat of Michael's show, and you went in and started started talking smack up in there, and I'm laughing. I'm like, can I referee this? Can I sell tickets?
Yeah.
And it was funny for me. And then, because I'm talking in the chat, all of a sudden I get a friend request from you. I go, oh, this isn't just a little banter back and forth between a couple of indie guys. There's something going on.
Yeah.
And then I saw the video a couple of days later, you showing up at his house. I go, well, there's no doubt that they know each other now, because
yeah.
I don't think anybody over there is doxing Michael Watson. So some random angry dude on the internet can go find him and have a fight between their two fictional characters.
Yeah, right. No, it was all planned out, and then he did the same thing on my podcast. So he hopped on my podcast in the comments and was talking a little trash. We wanted it to feel as much like the Monday Night Wars as possible. So yeah, it was fun though. I mean, some feelings might have actually got hurt. Those memes were a little, to the heart. But at the end of the day, it was all good and fun, and we all enjoyed it.
And you guys just all got together and did a convention over the weekend.
Yeah. We was at Gym City Comics. Mike had already planned to be there. That's only 30 minutes away from my house. So it was my daughter's birthday, and she wanted to go for the one day. So we went there as a family, and I kind of, did the walk around thing with the fam. And then Sunday I came back, and I was able to sit at the table with them, and we was able to chop up some ideas and come together with some stuff of how we're going to bring my character 5-star and put him into this universe that's already established, the Hot Shot universe.
And I saw all kinds of people that I'm friends with that I've had on the stream before. I spotted Victor there, And I'm
Yeah.
like, it don't look like he's working hard now. He's just chilling. And then I saw my dude Ren McKenzie hanging out, and I know he was thrilled to be at a show again to sell some art. So
yeah, there was a bunch of people there that I knew. Shout outs to also Brad Arney, who's like a super fan. He just supports so many people's stuff.
Oh yeah, I know Brad.
And you're used to. It's funny because you're used to just seeing those little profile pictures, on Facebook, on social media. So when he walks up, he's like, "Hey, Mr. Klapper," and I'm like, "Hey," and I didn't really recognize who he was, and he said it's Brad Arney, and I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Brad?" It's like you build relationships with these people just through commenting and just supporting one another, and so that was fun. It was good to see Brad out there and other people, and just finally be able to see people. Not through the phone or through the computer, and getting to have actual relationships with people. It was nice to be able to do that.
Yeah, get that interaction with comic people, and
right.
It's been too long, and I don't care what they say. Fuck the masks.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm putting a mask on, I'm robbing the 7-Eleven because I need a Slurpee or something.
Right.
So why don't you tell us about 5-Star? Like, give us some background on the character and what you guys might be working on for future endeavors now.
Okay, so Kevin Terry, aka 5-Star, is my it was in my universe, my flagship character, my first comic book. 5-Star follows Kevin Terry as he has a second chance at life, and he uses his newfound powers to start fighting crime, but the world is already established. There's already superheroes out there, so he's a rookie in the game, similar to myself as a writer, rookie in the game, coming into an established world of comics. And since he doesn't wear a mask, I always pictured, superheroes today would be invited to, celebrity parties. People would want to hang out with them. They'd want to be endorsed. They'd want to, girls or people would want to, fans would want to stop and take selfies with him. So he's trying not to get caught up in all that. He's trying to find his place in the superhero world and stick to his moral code. And so, yeah, there's going to be a lot of different stuff that we had with that. Issue 1, 2, and 3, we kind of did. Issue 3 more so we dig into the character of Kevin Terry. When I created the character, he's based off of two people that I know in real life. And I wanted to show somebody, a strong African-American character who's already fighting in their neighborhood before they had superpowers. Sorry. And that's not even a white or black thing or a color thing. There's so many unsung heroes fighting in neighborhoods that are struggling. These people get degrees and they can go anywhere if they wanted to with these degrees, but they decide to go back to their hometowns and they're fighting for the neighborhoods there. So Kevin Terry, he runs a community center and he's fighting for the youth. And there's so many people like that in all these neighborhoods that are just fighting for the kids and trying to provide better futures for these kids. And it's not always the easiest job. There's it's tough. They get flack from people in the communities, and it's not always an easy job, but day in and day out they stick in and they try to do what they can for the kids. So that's the route I wanted to go with Kevin Terry. I know that I wanted to show that in this character. Like I said, he's based off of two people that I know, one who runs a community outreach and the other one's a school teacher, and they're both really active in the youth and trying to better the neighborhood. So I wanted to showcase that with the character.
Yeah, show them there's a better way than street life to
right. Yeah.
Get on. That reminds me a little bit because I'm like way older than you. Just by like at least 2 times. But I remember when Black Lightning first showed up on the scene in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And I was introduced to him because they had Black Vulcan on the Super Friends cartoon, and I couldn't figure out why they with the name change. But I got introduced to him through Jim Apatow series there,
Mhm.
Brave and the Bold, and he teamed up with Batman a couple of times, but through his own series and appearances and other things, at one point he loses his powers.
Yeah.
And he quit being Black Lightning, but then something happened in his neighborhood, and problems with his family and friends, and he picked himself up and he went out there and he was just fighting against some pretty bad dudes that were doing bad stuff to everybody, with just his two meat mallets there, and
Right.
eventually got his powers back, and he's always been like a favorite character of mine. He only had a short run in his original series, and I'm only missing like 2 issues out of the whole run.
Wow.
So
And even in that in the CW show, I don't watch it. I mean, I watched the first couple episodes, but I like how they had him as a principal, and he was still fighting a battle just in a different way. You know what I mean? And that's the type of characters that I'm talking about. We don't really see that too much. People who are actively, even without powers, trying to fight for these neighborhoods. So I dig how they did that.
yeah, it's a good message to put out there. So definitely. Now,
sure.
how long have you been writing now? You're fairly new at this, right?
Yeah. I started, and I didn't start writing my first script until 2016. And within a year, 2017, I put out 5-star issue 1, and then 2 and 3 followed.
2016, I wasn't doing anything. I was in a coma. So
Really?
yeah, I'm in a wheelchair now. I was a nightclub DJ for over 30 years.
Oh, okay.
And I got really ill one night at work. Couldn't figure out what was going on. My best friend and his wife picked up my daughter, who was about 5 at the time, and took her home with them. And they thought I was going to go home like the next day. And turns out I had an explosion in my body of sepsis.
Wow.
I had sepsis, cellulitis, and an acute case of fasciitis.
That's wild.
So I'm not supposed to be here. So they had to put me into a medically induced coma because all my organs just shut down. They lost me on the table, and they lost me a few times in ICU. I was in a coma for a little over 2 months. They didn't think I was coming back out, and then I was crippled for months after that, and I've had about 24 surgeries, and now I have a motorized wheelchair to go around Comic-Cons.
Hey, I mean, it beats the alternative, man. So that's good.
Yeah, I'm back, Jack. I'm here and I'm doing what I would have done if I had gone to cons all last year. Just talking to if I go and cover a convention, I don't go near the Hollywood people because millionaires don't need my money.
Right. Yeah.
I want to talk to the people that created all these IPs that they've been getting rich off for like the last 5 or 10 years. So
yeah,
and that's what I would always do. I'd go and talk to freelance illustrators, indie creators, even the supposed pros. Back in 2019, I covered Rhode Island Comic Con for Outright Geekery, and I hung out with.
Hold on a second, buddy.
That's
Sorry
all right. I hung out with Neil Adams for about an hour. Got to meet and hang out with Graham Nolan that weekend. Bill McKay, Joe St. Pierre, Tom Mandrake, Mike Grell, Christopher Priestley. A whole bunch of guys from various companies, plus a whole slew of indie creators and freelance guys. And that's all I did. I didn't leave Artist Alley. Well, well, maybe to go to the men's room, but that was about it.
Yeah.
And that's all I do if I go to a convention, unless it's like a 1-day con and I'm actually helping people set up and run panels or something. But so this is what I do now. I just want to get
Hey,
creators out in front of more people.
I'm losing you a little bit. Hold on just a second. Yeah, sorry about that. I was losing my reception a little bit.
Okay.
I caught you.
So,
but yeah, man. Go ahead.
So, my whole thing is just to get get people out, and if they they got a project going on, if they got like a crowdfunder going on, or they have a new issue coming out, and they're self-published, or going through a small press publisher, or what have you. I want people to know the book's coming out, and just to go out and do that.
That's what I love about the indie community, man, is people coming together and helping one another and trying to push one another. Especially over this last year, you've seen so much support through stuff like this. I mean, you see a lot of podcasts have started up, and the people are just trying to get, people on their shows and help them with their Kickstarters, get books funded. We've seen just a crazy amount of books being funded this past year, and people hitting high numbers. I mean, people who, might have struggled 2 years ago to barely, scrape by with their Kickstarter goal are hitting, crazy numbers this past year.
Yeah.
And
like, who does Hotshot think he is getting 10K in a in a crowdfunder?
And then Danny J. Quick just with Ace Blade, he just hit over 9,000. Morgan Iverson had a huge, a lot bigger goal than he was used to having. I mean, it's just nice to see that with people that you've been in this journey with, and it's nice to see them, not only break their own goals, but just go way and above and beyond that they thought they would do. It's just a beautiful thing, and it's stuff like this. It's a network that we're slowly creating. You reached out to me to be on here, which I'm sorry, by the way. I'm usually definitely not this unprofessional. But I appreciate you bearing with me. But you reached out to me to have me on here, and I do the same with my show, 5 Star Fridays. I reach out to other creators and try to get them on to promote their Kickstarters and whatnot. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing that we can do that for one another.
Yeah, to promote, because that's what getting indie comics out in front of people is all about.
Right.
Yeah. After the high expenses of actually making the comic book, you can't get it in front of people, and people aren't going to know about it. So, to order it through whether it's crowdfunding or your own website, to be able to pre-order on the website, or know where you're going to be at conventions without going out and all kinds of self-promotion. It's great that there's so many shows, and a lot of these shows are intertwined and go back and forth. You see, you can go on any given night, on Twitter, there's 5 or 10 different streams going on.
Yeah.
And you'll see a handful of people that you've seen on other streams in their chat supporting them and going back and forth.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I just love that. I love the indie support and the network that we're starting to do. Because if we're not helping one another, who else is going to? We're not showing that support to one another. And you had that at cons. I mean, I could tell. This was my first con going to as a somebody at a table, but Mike and Danny, they just networked with all these people, and it was like this. I automatically felt part of this little con family. You know what I mean? Comic Con family. That these people have been going to cons together for so long, and I think that's what we're developing now with these podcast shows. We're all supporting one another. We're building this network of podcasts to where when one of us launches a Kickstarter, I already have about at least 6-7 shows that I know I can be a part of in that month to promote. And we didn't have that before. I think if anything, COVID-19 kind of made people rethink things, and we all, started to branch out and try to do different things. And if anything, I think it's what started this nice podcast deal, to where there's so many outlets now, to where if you got a Kickstarter, like I said, I personally, 7 different, even more than that, I can hit up these people and say, hey, I'm running this for the month. I'd like to get on your show, get in front of your audience, and we're able to do that and help one another out.
Yeah, usually after I've invited somebody on once, as soon as they have a book, they're like, yeah, I'm releasing a book in 2 months. Can I come on?
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Yeah, that's what it's about, man.
It's like, yeah, come back.
Right.
And the more that happens with me, the more excited I get. I'm like, I feel like somebody, because I'm not I'm not chasing down people.
Right.
And through my connections with Outright Geekery and people seeing the YouTube show and all of these, I put up into podcasts because I was picked up by ageofradio.org to have my podcast on their platform.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so every one of these, I download everything, I back up all the videos, and the audio gets uploaded. And so within an hour after the stream's done, people can either listen or download it. And I give it like 15, 20 minutes after the upload, and then I jump on my phone and go over to my Spotify, because of course I have to follow myself, and that way I can share out the links, get it out onto get all the links out into all the social medias to hopefully push it for like an extra day or two after the show's done.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out all the odds and ends of the podcast. Trying to get it out on more platforms, try to do more things with it. It's hard to balance everything, but luckily for me, Mike Watson showed me a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm still learning. Like, even being a part of different people's shows, you just learn different things that they do. It's like anything, really. Even with Kickstarters, running Kickstarters, you learn. You see other people run Kickstarters, you see their goals they're hitting. You kind of learn from them. So it's all about growth and trying to just take what you can learn.
Yeah, I've seen some guys that have been around, been in the indie community for a while, like Phil Diaz and his brother. They do the series called Magic Cop.
Yeah.
And they're just wrapping up Magic Cop 2, and they're just they've hit like over 27K.
Right.
And I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because that's basically like word of mouth going out. So
right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And so I know you were having problems, and I wanted to get you on just out in front so people can get introduced to you some, and we'll schedule something else in the future. That way you can have a nice relaxed night, get your computer up and running, because I know you're going to need it to write some more scripts. And and you got a show coming up in a couple of days. So
even tonight, if I feel kind of bad being out here, and it's just super unprofessional on my end. But I don't want you to feel any kind of way. I didn't know if you wanted to take like a 15-minute intermission or something to see if I can get this up and loaded, and then I can kind of sit back and really be more into this conversation, because I feel like I'm cheating you a little bit by being out here.
Yeah, do that. I got a bunch of stuff that I can talk about and promote.
Okay, cool.
You can take some time and go there, and I'll just
it won't take long. I'll see what I can. I'll figure out what's going on. I think it's something internet wise. That's why I'm having good trouble outside even. So yeah, let me take quick 15 minutes. Let me get this figured out, because I don't want to feel like I don't want you to feel like I'm shortchanging you, or anything like that, because I really do appreciate that you gave me the opportunity to be on here. So I'm gonna try to get this to work, and then we can get more into it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna do some PR stuff and just pop back in when you're ready.
All right. Cool. Thanks.
All right. Right now, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to let you take a look at Mavericks, now available on Indiegogo. And the link for it is in the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching us.
War is a topic of vital importance, a subject of inquiry that cannot be ignored. It is a matter of life and death. It can be a road to safety or to ruin.
In an alternate version of our world, brought to the brink of total collapse, rival nations fight for global domination, and elite pilots in futuristic combat suits wage war on the battlefield of tomorrow. Now, 6 brave soldiers on a seemingly routine rescue mission will encounter more than they bargained for and uncover a dangerous secret that could change their world if they live long enough to see it. Mavericks Origins Volume 1.
Now on Indiegogo.
And hey, I got this in, and I just wanted to show you. Billy Tucci launched She Omnibus Volume 1, and it broke $100,000 in the first 36 hours. Right there. Boom. $100,000 the first 36 hours. I just found all my issues of this the other day. And it was weird because about a couple of weeks before, I actually found all my Cyberfrog issues that I had bought from EVS that he had done back in the 90s. So Cyberfrog 0, 1, 2, and 3. And, of course, all the She stuff, because that was awesome. And, you know, I was all about the badass chicks back in the 90s. She, Witchblade, Dawn from Linsner. I'm a huge Linsner fan, so it's crazy. And there were so many others. Antarctic Press, Warrior Nun, Ariella, which was just recently made into a show. And if you actually read the comics back in the day, the show would make a lot more sense to you. But let's see. Let's take a look at the She Omnibus. Boom. Here we go. Yeah, that's better. Well, it had said $100,000, but over here it's just showing this. It might not be showing the add-ons until it rolls through. I don't know how Indiegogo calculates everything. But what do you say? No Fan Left Behind, Indiegogo, and the Kickstarter campaigns. Okay, so he's running simultaneous. That's why it hit 100 grand. Indiegogo and Kickstarter break 100 grand in the first 36 hours, and the first 3 stretch goals have been smashed. Custom dust jacket, sewn in bookmark ribbon, and the omnibus trading card is now yours. If you've backed the book. I haven't backed yet because I need the money to back. But let's take a look at this.
Hello everyone, creator of She, Billy Tucci here, and I am so proud to announce the debut launch of our very first Omnibus edition, the She Omnibus Volume Number 1. The groundbreaking masterwork that literally changed the face of comics and launched the Bad Girl Revolution returns in this premiere formatted 500-page full-color hardcover edition, collecting all 12 issues of She, Way of the Warrior, the 3-part interlacing Tomoe miniseries, and the 48-page She vs. Tomoe, celebrating the 25th anniversary of this epic Sohei warrior saga. Introduces Ana Ishikawa, a young woman born of 2 cultures and who was drafted into a shadow war that has existed for over 500 years. In this complete full-color omnibus, we follow Ana as she begins her violent assault on the Yakuza Oyoban Masahiro Arashi. Fiery clashes, and witnessing the grieving children of those she's slain in battle, Ana turns away from the sword. Now the hunter becomes the hunted, as Arashi seeks his own revenge against this faceless assailant. And his answer is Ana's family's centuries-old enemy, the Narin Sohei, led by her best friend, the assassin Tomoe. Heartbreaking twists and exhilarating turns ensue as Ana's mission unravels into one of blood and madness, and whose culmination's only salvation is mercy and forgiveness. But wait! There's more! We're also offering lots of other She-related items, including original art, prints, shirts, commissions, and special editions, including the ash can to She's next great adventure, launching this October, She Sakura. And the best news is, this entire collection is complete and ready for press. We just need your help to get it funded. So please join our crusade and harken back to the days when comics were fun and thought-provoking. So please pledge, please share. Thank you for 25 amazing years in comics. And remember, we're all in this together, and we're all She strong. Salud.
So, and we will shrink this and we'll refresh that so it goes back to this. All right. So, and that is just a gorgeous cover. Now, even though I found all the original, I found all but one of the issues that are in here. I found the whole. I found the one-shot She Tomoe, and I found the mini-series of Tomoe, and I found just about all of the She issues. I think I'm missing like 1 or 2 that I haven't come across, but I'm still going to get this because, I mean, I cannot not get this because I'm getting rid of a bunch of books and most of my collection and switching over to, stuff that, meant something to me and, can bring me back to like happier times and memories. I am definitely going to be getting those on like hardcovers are a thing for me, and they last longer. They present better. There's even some trades like I just finished reading, and it was awesome. brought me back to the 80s. Creator Russ Leach has a series called Only Death Can Save Us. And it's where the four horsemen of the apocalypse are actually the good guys saving humanity. You got to read it for yourself. It is action packed. He's got a great art style, and it was a really fun book. And that has like a heavy duty cover, and it's just great to see. Hey, hi.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Doing ads for everybody else's book.
Cool. Hey, it's all about support anyway. I dig it. I finally figured out my internet issue that I was having. Again, super duper apologize, buddy, for the mix up. But here we are.
What's going on? Here we go. There we are. And we can get that on there. Yeah, so I was just like looking at a few things, and I was telling people that I just found like a whole bunch of my 90s like indie issues.
Oh, nice.
So I had found EBS's Cyberfrog 0 and 1-2 issues 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, okay.
The originals, and I had found most of the original run of Crusade Comics She, plus the Tomoe miniseries, plus the She versus Tomoe one shot. There was I think there's either a She or a Tomoe versus somebody from Image. One of the characters from Image that I never actually got. I think it might have been Witchblade.
Oh, okay, cool.
But
so how long have you been collecting comics?
Since 1974.
Nice.
Told you, fucking old.
Nah, man.
You put that right up there so I can say I'm fucking old. I'm a B52, and I'm just hoping my ticker lasts out now that I have a teenage daughter. So I'm just like, oh man, she's a good kid. She spends most of the time in her room on her tablet drawing on the new art program I got her.
Oh,
so,
nice.
So it's she doesn't really want anything to do with comics because when your dad thinks comics are cool, you just cannot
right
deal with that noise because you're like, I kind of like them, but my dad likes them, so I cannot like them. Because
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
So when she was little, she used to brag to her friends at school that her dad was a great DJ, and by the time she was 8, that went away. He goes, "Yeah, my dad plays music for people."
That's funny how kids do that.
They're like, I can do that on my iPad.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but you can't mix and cut.
Yeah, right. I feel it.
Everybody's a DJ till you slap a couple of Technique 1200s in front of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's this?
Yeah, there ain't too many real DJs out there doing it right now.
No, there's a bunch up by me. Some of them started a few years before me.
Yeah.
So they got a couple of years on me. So I'm glad I'm not the oldest guy around. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, I still got my equipment way off to my side over here. It's not set up currently, but it will be soon because I backed a couple of crowdfunders that actually come with music.
Oh, nice.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, we got limited edition vinyl." I go, "Oh, I am so pledged to your campaign."
Yeah, that's nice. That's dope.
I got both of them are like rock bands. One's got like a special splatter vinyl, which is killer looking. I go, I'm gonna listen to it. I'm gonna rip it down to the computer, and then I'm gonna take the album cover and the album and frame them up and probably put a black light over it because of the process they're using on it. So it's gonna, you know, it'll look good in the nerd cave. So
Right.
you know,
Yeah, that'll be awesome. We all got to have one of those, man. Nice little office space. I got my stuff going on back here. Was able to a couple months ago get my stuff together for I could start 5 Star Fridays, and have my little space that I can be in. It's actually weird now when you go live. Like when I was just out in the car trying to go live, it's like it's just not the same vibe.
yeah, everybody just is used to seeing like it's all comics and toys behind them.
Yeah,
You know, it's like I had a 2,200 foot full ass trailer for all my stuff that was in storage. You know, some of the stuff was my mother's, who passed back in 2012, and like, you know, family photo albums and stuff of that nature,
right.
and a bunch of stuff that was my daughter's, and the rest is all like 150 comic book boxes and toys. Some of them that I just bought by the, you know, I ordered, you know, through my LCS, you know, Marvel Directs or DC Direct at the time, and I'd just be like, I will buy and I'll buy a case.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
you sure? I'm like, yep. And you know, so that's basically what's back here. But I'm going through stuff, but it's not as easy going through stuff when you're in a, you know, when you're in a wheelchair. So I'm moving stuff around and organizing stuff and repacking, and I'm selling a bunch of stuff. Like I had 2 copies of the first appearance of Spider-Gwen, which I didn't give a rat's ass about, and I sold them both. Both to friends who just happened to be named John.
Oh yeah.
You know, one from Florida and one a local friend to me who I've known since I was like 16. So and he's come up a bunch of times because he'll come and hang out and talk comics. But we did like some trade and some cash stuff.
Yeah.
And so I lowered the price because he's a friend of mine. You get the family and friend discount.
Oh yeah.
And but he also brought up some stuff, and he gave me a nice copy of both volume 1s of the Demon issue 1.
Oh wow.
And Mr. Miracle issue 1.
Oh okay.
And then when he went to grab his stuff to leave, he'd accidentally scooped up a handful of my books underneath. And he got home. He goes, "You missing anything?" I go, "Well, my mind. Why?" He goes, "Well, I grabbed this book, and then inside of a small paper bag, all bagged and boarded, was New Mutants 97 through 100.
Oh man.
And it was just like the week before I discovered I even had one. I didn't even think I was buying them back then. I think I started buying stuff through a recommendation from a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, the series is great." And I'm like, and on a whim, you know, I bought it. You know, if only I had bought it like I bought, you know, Jim Lee X-Men back in the 90s, then I would have had, you know, 5 or 10 copies of it, and I would have been like, "Yep, they're all going up."
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's been a couple of times, and so tell us how you first got attracted to comics. Did you grow up with them? What was?
I actually didn't grow up with. So when I was younger, it was more because I am a '90s baby. I was born in 1990. So for me, it was the cartoons that got me first attracted to the world of comics. Spider-Man animated series, X-Men animated series, Batman. So those were like my first venture into the comic book world. And I can remember going to a flea market, and a guy had a bunch of comics on a table, and I think he was selling them for like 10 cents or something. It was something. It wasn't big. It was like, nothing special or anything. And my mom let me buy a bunch of them, and ever since then, just kind of been into the been into comic books, always loved creating my own characters as a kid. But then for me, I mean, I was on the football team in high school and whatnot, so I kind of got out of, not that I wasn't into comics, but I didn't embrace the creative side of it. And it took me a while, until, all the way up until a few years ago when I, decided to, I want to bring this passion of mine that I have. I want to create this character. I want to create a comic. So I just buckled down and got on it. But yeah, as long as I can remember, I've always loved superheroes and everything superhero. Big Ninja Turtles growing up was huge impact on me. Power Rangers was an impact on me. And then being able to go back and read some of them awesome stories from Marvel and DC at a later age.
Yeah, my first experience was the reruns of the old Adam West, Burt Ward Batman show.
Oh, okay.
It would come on local channels here in Boston just before I went to school.
Yeah.
So I would watch a 30-minute episode of Batman and then a 30 episode of the original Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
My mother would put her foot in my ass and send me out the door and tell me to hurry up and run because you're going to be late. And then she started a different work schedule. And when I switched up to middle school, every time you switch and go up higher in the school chain, you're going to be there earlier and earlier.
Yeah.
So I was late every day because I wasn't missing an episode of Batman.
Yeah.
Even if I had seen it like a million times. And that's where I first saw Cesar Romero as the Joker. And I'm like, that was it.
Yeah.
I was hooked. That was it. And I mean, used to get the newspaper because it was cheap back then. And so I'd get to read like the comics. When my mother was done with the paper, she'd let me have it so I could find the comic page and read the comics. And I would religiously read the Spider-Man strip. And that strip in the local paper was the first time I saw Dr. Doom. So,
that's that would have been just a fun time to grow up in. But yeah, so the younger, like my generation's experience is a lot different. I would imagine most people my age, their first run-in was with, those animated.
Mm-hmm.
The animated shows.
I had that too because the very first version of Super Friends was on Saturday mornings.
Oh yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
So we had that, and Mego Toy Company had just come out like a few years before then. So we had like the 8-inch action figures with the cloth costumes, and Star Trek had just made like a huge emergence in the syndicated market. So
right.
Star Trek was huge, and then Star Wars came out and killed the whole Mego toy line.
Right, with the
3 3/4-inch figures. But prior to that, I had the 1960s GI Joes and their vehicles and all the superheroes and the Kiss, the like 12-inch Kiss figures. For a while, Mego was putting out the 12-inch Star Wars figures, and all kinds of cool stuff like that, and all that stuff is coming back around because everything moves through pop culture on kind of like a spinning wheel.
Yeah, you're right about that for sure. I would also say, going back to what got me into comics, I've always loved action figures. Like I'm a huge action figure collector.
Mm-hmm.
Everything action figure. So I would say even before really knowing who characters was, I would have them as action figures. So like my love for the cartoons got me into collecting and wanting these action figures, and I would get action figures just solely off of that guy looks cool, and would get the character, and then I'd want to know more about the character. So yeah, I can remember having action figures of characters I didn't even have no idea of who they were at the time. I was just so into collecting the toys, and I'm still like that today. I mean, huge fan of collecting. Right now, Marvel Legends, anything GI Joe, Star Wars. I'm kind of getting it. I had all the DC Universe Classic figures, that line when it came out. Kind of getting into the McFarlane a little bit. He's he's taking on a lot of different stuff, and the figures he's coming out with some pretty nice looking figures. I just want to see more classic DC villains come out. He just did. He's releasing the Lobo and the Reverse Flash, and those are the characters I want to see. Like I'm like, yo, give me those. Like I want to see classic villains or even classic superheroes. I understand he's wanting to put out figures that are from current comics, like he did the Batman Who Laughs and all that stuff, because it's fresh and people haven't had those figures, so he's wanting to put them out. But part of me is like, yo, I just want the irregular. I want to see him do all the Avengers. I mean, all the Justice League. Sorry, I want to see him do all the Justice League. I want to see him do all those classic villains. Like those are the ones that I want to see. And I think once he starts rolling them out, then I'll probably be hooked.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of those from the DC Direct days,
right?
And they're no, I did not open any of them to play with them. Yeah. I wanted to, but I'm like, no, I know how this works.
Yeah.
And because anytime that I've opened up figures and like played with them or displayed them,
yeah,
they end up being that one figure that was like, oh man, if that was still in the package, that'd be worth this much. Now it's not worth anything.
Yeah, I'm an opener.
But then you see like a bunch of people will buy and open and display their figures, and then when they want to buy new different versions of them that they like better, they'll put them up like on eBay or Facebook.
Yeah.
And they'll be charging you the same amount of money that you would have paid in the store brand new for it when it first came out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but even then, people that missed out then, you can usually find a buyer for about just about anything.
Yeah.
I even know with me, like I said, I've always been an opener, and going back to the DC Universe Classic line, like I said, I had majority of those. I had the Build-A-Figures, I had the Grundy Build-A-Figure, I had the Bane Build-A-Figure, all those ones that go for crazy prices now.
Mm-hmm.
And back when I thought DC Icons was going to be hot, you run out of room. You're running out of room with your collection. So I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and sell these off. I shot myself in the foot with that because DC Icons was not that. They released 15 figures, I think, before they went on to Essentials, and then the Essentials they only released a handful of action figures. So I've learned my lesson with that. So now I'm kind of waiting. And in the McFarlane figures right now, there's not really any of them that are hard to find. I try to keep up on that and see,
I think the only one that's tough to find is Grim Knight and Joker That Laughs, because the way they released them is you had to order 3 of them through Entertainment Earth when they were in pre-order. That way you got the 3 different versions.
Yeah.
Because to put together one full one of how it's displayed when they show it like in the catalog or online, it's got the 3 different versions, the 3 different like little evil Robins.
Right. Yeah.
And to get those, what you're doing is you're buying the same main figure to get it with a different Robin each time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he goes, yeah, so yeah, you can't find those in the store like that. It was only like through Entertainment Earth or Big Bad Toy Store, and you had to like pre-order them to get them right. And little things like that pissed me off and turned me off from wanting to buy anything.
Yeah, and I just had this conversation over the weekend. We was talking about how I was at Gym City earlier, and me. It's funny because like me and Mike's also a huge action figure collector, and we'd both venture away from the table, and most of the time, one of us we'd come back with some kind of action figure. You get caught up in wanting to buy stuff when you're looking, and we were talking about how it's so frustrating now. Hasbro is really bad at it. You want these army builder figures, things that hand ninjas, or if you're Star Wars clone troopers, stuff that you want to just have ideally it would be nice to have a bunch of them on a shelf. But they want to like one per case, those figures. Or, they're really bad at making the clone troopers, a Walgreens exclusive or something that just makes it harder to get. It's like, it'd be nice if they would make these troopers because people would buy them. Like, people would buy them. It would be nice if
we were talking about this, that the henchman figures should only be $10 a piece.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's like we don't care how many points of articulation are on them. We're just going to line them up and build a scene around them.
Right.
Because we're going to buy all these other overpriced things, like the carbonite freezing chamber, where you actually have to buy 2 of those because 2 of them together make the entire room.
Yeah.
So if you only buy one, you're just half-assing it, and all that stuff is like way overpriced. Like, because I remember jumping in the chat the other week when we were talking about the Sentinels and Galactus and
yeah.
The overpricing of the toy market, because they're like, kids don't buy these.
Yeah.
Of course not. Kids can't even buy comic books anymore because they're outpriced.
Right. Yeah. And parents are like, I'm not buying that. You know what I mean? And it's frustrating. Even with my son, who is into toys, they just don't make cool stuff like that. That's like that affordable. Like, my son, he's collecting the Ninja Turtles, the new series that's out. He was collecting the Ninja Turtle stuff. And even with those, it's like $13 for the little tiny foot ninja. It's like, give me a pack for $10 that has, a bunch of them in it, because he want, you want that. If foot ninjas, you want a bunch of them. You can't have 2 little foot ninjas. You got 4 turtles. You know what I mean? Like, give me a bunch of them. It's frustrating how they do that, because they got to know that people are going to buy them. But the issue is people are still buying them at the $20, $22 price point.
Yeah, and now a lot of the figures are like, $30 and up coming out.
Yeah,
and
they're upping the prices.
I'm like, because they know it's all. They know for the 90% of the people buying these are all collectors. Right.
Yeah.
So the collectors are going to buy them, and it's all dudes like us. That are either at the end of their midlife crisis or at the beginning of their midlife crisis, and wanting to buy all the cool shit they had when they were kids.
Yeah,
or that they didn't have around when they were kids. Like, I
gotta say, for me, I've been actively collecting, and I mean like hardcore collecting, since I was like 14. Oh yeah, that's nice.
Disco Dick. That is still the best Nightwing costume. I don't care what anybody says. All these other costumes are just like, oh, you were just being lazy. I also have some Shredder sunglasses.
Nice. Hey, Mike was upset. We was talking about the NECA the NECA Turtles, the movie Turtles,
Oh yeah.
and he has the Turtles and he has the Shredder, same as me. But they come out with the single release Foot Soldier or the double pack that costs just as much as a Turtle does. And I get it. I mean, it is a figure and it does the same stuff. But it's like, come on, man. People want to buy, 10-foot ninjas. Why? Quit doing that. Give us some kind of discount on them. Make them, where they're easy to get or something at a better price. I know Hasbro is trying to do that with their Hasbro Plus. I mean, Pulse, they have some of the Hydra Troopers on there now for $15, but it's still, I mean, that's still a little, come down on that just a little, and we'll buy them.
Look, it's like $10.
Yeah,
You're not losing any money. We know that some of these are overpriced because they're trying to make all their money back in the initial wave of the pre-orders.
Yeah,
That it costs them for the artists and artisans to build the mold and carve everything out.
and they reuse so many parts anyway.
They reuse so many parts, but there's some characters that are like, if you have like a new mech soldier or something,
Right. Yeah.
there's going to be 5 or 6 different ones. But on that initial run, you're going to want to make your money back, and then you have to buy like the special mold and
Right.
all kinds of stuff like that. But it's it can get pricey, but they know they're making their money back.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you were saying, $400 for Galactus
Yeah.
and no batteries.
No batteries. Yeah. How frustrating. Like that's super frustrating. That it's crazy. But I mean, I haven't checked in on that. I don't know if it's hit its goal or not. I know it's not doing as well as the Sentinel was doing.
Yeah, the Sentinel is doing, I think, did better because of like the whole X-Men thing, and when they brought that out, Disney Plus was just starting up, and everybody was getting excited that I can watch the old '90s X-Men cartoons again.
Right.
And then Hasbro pops out. Look, a Sentinel.
Yeah, and plus, you had people buying multiple.
Mm-hmm.
Hardcore collectors,
and they were like 3 different kinds too.
Yeah. So you had, and they was really wanting them stretch goals. I'm curious, even though I'm not gonna get it. I'm curious to see what the stretch goals are with the Galactus.
Mm-hmm.
I at least want to see what have it revealed what's coming out. It's just nice to see. But like I said, it's just to me, Galactus was never one of those characters that I got that excited about. I don't really get too excited about the all-powerful world devouring type characters. It's just not, Thanos isn't my thing, really. Apocalypse isn't my thing. I'm just not into those kind of characters. I'm more into like the gritty, like street level villains, or the one that's just more of what I like, or like a Shredder type, boss, whose skill is why he's, they fear and respect him, and he's fought for where he's at, type deal. Not like, oh, I was just created to be the all powerful almighty, So that's why that's a pass for me. But I know that there's in other cases that people love those type characters. So it's just preference of what you like.
Well, on the plus side, this week they released Marvel released a couple of new omnibuses this week, and one of them was the early Galactus Silver Surfer run. From early FF, Jack and Stan, and then moving on from creators from there, and it's like yeah, I'd buy that at the hat at Books A Million, or the subscription service that one of my co-hosts goes through where everything is like 40 to 60% off. And I'm like, yeah, I'd buy it there because I would only spend like $50 for it. I'd spend $50 for like a 500-page omnibus. I will not spend $150, $200 on one.
Yeah, they're just everything's just so overpriced, and even on top of that, going back to the action figures, and it's the same with other stuff too. There's just scalpers are just,
Oh yeah, I know.
are at the highest. I mean, at peak level right now. You know what I mean? It's like they want to do all these pre-orders. It's all pre-order online, pre-order online, pre-order online, and these people got to figure it out to where they're buying up. You've seen that a lot with that new G.I. Joe line that came out, the classified series. It's like they want to release these figures, Target exclusive, 1 o'clock pre-orders go on, which is BS for 1 o'clock. Most people are at work. That's hard to. That's kind of a jacked up time, I feel like.
Yeah, I think it's 1 o'clock Pacific too.
Yeah, so it's like that's a jacked up time, and it just makes it easier for the scalpers. It's like the guys who are sitting at home flipping the figures. Of course, they're home and they're gonna buy up 100 or whatever. And then it's hard for the guy who just wants to collect and enjoy them to get them.
Yeah, I mean, I buy off a toy dealer. It's a couple, and they're out in Washington State. But everything for them went to online sales because Facebook live sales and stuff like that, and reply auctions because everything was shut down. Right. And West Coast even more because we fear for our life.
Yeah.
Susie, right. COVID is here for us. And so I bought a bunch of stuff from them, and but I've gotten stuff. If it's stuff that I can get locally, even delivered locally, at a better price. But if I can get it for the same price off of a small business,
right?
I'll buy it off the small business.
Yeah.
Then I will give Target or Walmart, especially Walmart, any of my money. One, it makes it so I don't have to deal with Walmart and going from there. But I mean, they had a big thing last week before the cheesy Snake Eye movie got released, where Mego did a deal with Hasbro, where they made a Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow exclusive.
I've seen those.
The brand new Mego bodies and everything. And the regular Megos only go for $12, $15 a pop.
Yeah.
And, now these, because it's going through Hasbro, it's an exclusive, and it's a 2-pack, because how Hasbro loves their 2-packs.
Right.
Let's do a 2-pack. That way we can add an extra $5 onto the price to round it off.
Yeah.
So it's like $60. They're charging $30 a piece. And I'm like, and I was like, it's cool, but it's cool to see them, but
it's
not cool. It's a hard pass for me. One, my G.I. Joe come with Kung Fu grip, so that's not even my G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, I was unloading trucks for the drivers at Hasbro late night. When I was in school, when that stuff was coming out, and my friend that owns my LCS was actually him and his other friends, because they're a few years older than me, were all working the lines of those toys in the Hasbro plant. And
oh wow.
So I didn't work for Hasbro. A bunch of us used to just show up.
Yeah.
And the driver, they would make the drivers unload their own trucks. So they get a bunch of high school, college kids show up. You get 3 or 4 kids off the high school football team. don't even have to go home and shower because you're just going to get all sweated up again anyhow.
Right.
And, they'd give us like, depending on if it was a full truck, they'd give us like 150. If it was like a half truck, we'd get like $75 and it was all cash.
Yeah.
So and it was great for me because as old as I look now, I looked old enough in middle school to not get caught at the local liquor store. So I was always the guy going in and goes, "Oh, I forgot my ID." Okay, just sign the book.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent bought my friend's liquor, but so somebody should have a talk with them.
Yeah. That's funny.
But yeah, there's so much stuff out there, and I mean, I've got a lot of older stuff. I've still got a lot of the 70s Migos. I don't have any of my GI Joes, but I mean, my GI Joes got me beat up when I was a kid.
Yeah,
because I was a ginger. So automatically, I'm getting picked on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like my daughter's got red hair. She gets picked on, but just by the mean girls. But I told her, I go, look, the first time they put a hand on you, you just punch them in the throat like I showed you.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And just do it to one of them, and the rest of them will just, slowly creep back.
Right.
If not, pick up a lunch tray and smash them in the face. I'm full of all kinds of good advice. Follow me for more recipes on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you grew up at a different time. Oh yeah.
I was taught the same thing.
Stand up for yourself and go from there. But because I was a dude, I would get picked on all the time because I had red hair, and as I got older, it got darker and darker. Till eventually, like, you don't have red hair. I go, yeah, I do. Prove it. I go, you don't want me to do that.
Yeah.
But so my mother thought it was cool that the old 60s, early 70s GI Joes, some of them came with red hair. So she would buy me the redheaded GI Joes, which would just get me beat up more.
Right.
And it was terrible. But there's a bunch of stuff that I still have from back then. I mean, I still have some big little books from back then, and I've even got one from I've got a Mandrake the Magician big little book from 1946. So that was given to me as a gift by one of the neighbors. Like, hey, you like the funny books, right? Don't call them that.
Yeah. It's funny when you're the comic guy that people know. They reach out to you to give you all the stuff that they come across.
Yeah, like
it's not like that as much anymore now because everybody's into comics. It seems nowadays. So, and
people that aren't into comics know that they all think that they're going to sell them for a boatload of cash.
Right. Yeah.
When the sad truth is, you're lucky if you put up 50 comics in $1 auction. You're lucky if you sell like 10% of them, at $1 a piece.
Right.
Which
it's true, man. People who aren't into comics, they always I'll get like messages that's like, hey, I got this comic book collection. You want to come over and look at it? And there's some old stuff in here. It might be worth something. And it's like, I mean, I'll come look, but most of the time it's like you got to give them that sad truth. Like, nah, man, you could probably give these away.
Yeah, it's like they're cool. He goes, do you like to read? No. Do you have a fire pit?
Right.
It's like, he goes, yeah, well, if you don't want them, I'm going to throw them away. I go, well, let me look through them to see if there's any that are in decent shape that I might want.
Right.
And, we'll go from there. And it's like, cool.
Right.
And, I did have somebody. I did have somebody once who used to. I used to work for a storage company, and they worked for it too part time. So they used to have a flea market stand, and they used to buy up, some of the auction spots, and
Mm.
try to make a couple of extra bucks out of there. And most of it was furniture. 90% of it was just bags of clothes that you would just throw in the closest dumpster. But she did find like a handful of comic books. She gave me the Hulk books,
Mm.
and she goes, "Are any of these worth some money?" And she had a couple in there, including a New Mutants '98, but it was kind of beat up,
Yeah.
but it was still, even that condition, and this is like, 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
It'd still be, even back then, it was still worth like, between $50 to $100 raw.
Mm.
I go, well, if you don't want it, he goes, no, I'm going to put it in my stand and try to sell it. He goes, if it doesn't sell, I'll offer it to you. I'll give you a discount. I'm like, well, I don't want to pay for it.
Right.
Why? What were you going to do with it? I go, I was going to take it and put it on eBay.
Right.
You know? But yeah, there's so much like cool pop culture stuff out there,
Mm.
and I know more and more people getting into collecting art with these Kickstarter campaigns.
Yeah.
The artist is putting up art, and I know you got a bunch of stuff on your wall back there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know.
so a lot of it's 5-star stuff, but I got some variant covers from the TMNT Power Ranger crossover they did, the
Mhm.
little 5-book series that they did. Uh, and I've noticed, so with Kickstarters now, like you said, original art, people are wanting it. People are wanting the variant covers. Um, and people have their different views about variant covers. I enjoy them. When they, like, I bought most of the ones that they did with this crossover, just because for, like I said, both of them impacted my childhood greatly. To see
Mhm.
them come together in a book, it's like I got to. And then you're seeing all these different styles. They did all the ones with the turtles holding the helmets, and they did each one of those. So, like, I was into that. I'm game for that. But I've noticed in people's Kickstarters that they're offering the variant covers. You got people buying, pledging for those, um, wanting original covers with their character on them. It's going pretty hot. Getting some original art from the artist. I know me and Fish Lee, because I'm planning my Kickstarter for December, or not December, but fourth quarter, I should say, of this year. And we're brainstorming some different ideas, some original art that he can do for people, character commissions that they can buy through the Kickstarter, and then he'll do some live art sometimes on our show. So that's another thing. Like, not only will you get the art, but we'll do it live on the show, and we'll bring you on the show and talk to you while you do it. Same with Michael Watson being signed with him. It's nice because not only does he has the chat and draw, and he has his other show, and then I got my show. Now we can use all three of those platforms to kind of push out um, whatever we have going on. And Michael's always willing to help out and do a variant cover as well, and an exclusive variant cover from him. So yeah, you're seeing people start to buy more of that stuff that they can collect. It's nice for us because the print shop that we use is literally in the same town that Mike lives in. So it's we'll be able to sign a lot of that stuff to get out to people. So it's
Yeah.
even better for collectors.
So Kickstarter or Indiegogo wise, how many variant covers is too many variant covers for one book?
I mean, I think it all depends on. I think if it's an issue one, you know what I mean, have at it. Um, Ch- um, Charlie, who did Spider Squirrel, he had multiple. I think he had like 7 different And as he's releasing them, people are adding them on. People are, add this as an add-on, add this as an add-on, and people are going in and they're adding them as add-ons. I think for issue 1, because it is that first issue, and that even is nice for collectors. Because there's a difference between people who will buy the book because they support you, and then collectors, comic book collectors who they're like, yeah, give me any and all this, sign it if you can. If you're doing that many for every issue, it's kind of like, okay, like,
because I've seen some, and it cracks me up because the same people would be like, 90s comics were trash, but then they turn around and they use all the 90s gimmicks covers on every single book.
Yeah.
I'm like, so 90s comics are trash, huh?
Right. Yeah.
Tell me more. I'm interested in your theory on this because it doesn't seem to be panning out very well.
Homage covers are cool, but I think if you do too many of those, it's kind of. I like to see that more of original stance. And also, like if you're doing like a special story arc, and you wanna enhance that story arc with, covers, variant covers. That makes sense to me. But standard release of like an issue 2 or 3 or 4, that's not like huge, landmark for the book. 1 or 2 variants.
Yeah.
I would say nothing crazy.
I see so many people that get out there and they'll make connections through the comic book world.
Yeah.
And then they'll pull in like all these big name artists to do a cover for them. So before you know it, you got this indie book that's got 24 freaking covers or more, because you've got, they might do like 4 main covers.
Yeah.
Like, A through D. And then they've got like all these flashy variants, hologram, this, that, and the other thing. And then as you scroll down on it, you're still just seeing covers. But now they're doing all the naughty versions, all the cover of all the 30 other covers you just saw. And I'm like, dude, stop it. Pornhub is free.
Yeah.
I go,
I mean,
you want to do a sexy cover, do a sexy cover. Do we really need the nudie covers?
Yeah. Well, I mean, people.
I mean, we like to see them.
It's not my thing. But I mean, I know them Kickstarters do really well. So
yeah, well, that's the whole thing. It's like boobs sell, but and I know that because I worked at a nudie bar.
Yeah.
Actually, that was basically 90% of my entire DJ career was at various nudie bars.
Oh, okay.
Because when all the friends would be like bragging, they just graduated nursing school and they just got a job, at the hospital in this specialty or that specialty, or they're just got their first law firm job. So what are you doing? Making chicks give me money.
Yeah.
They're like, fuck you.
That's funny. Hey, I mean, everybody's got a lane. I would have loved to. I was into music, so I was before doing comics, I was a hip hop artist. Nothing major. I did come out with 2 mixtapes. Was doing that for probably about 6 years. Did a lot of shows and would go to different places and do shows, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. But when it got to the time to where I was trying to do both, I had to go with what like really was my passion, which is this comic book thing. So I kind of let that go, and here I am. But I love music. I would have loved to gotten into the DJing thing. I just never did.
Yeah, it's like I wanted to be a fireman until I was like about 9.5, 10.
Yeah.
And I got my first like actual like stereo.
Yeah.
And I started listening to the radio and stuff in my room while I was playing. And I'm like, that's what I want to do.
Right.
And that's what I did.
Awesome.
So I'm like, and now I'm doing this. I'm actually working on I'm actually writing like 4 different stories right now too.
Awesome.
I don't know if they will come, as they say, out of the closet and see the light, but
Yeah.
I'm working on some short stories and stuff just to dive in.
Awesome.
But
You can get them out there, man.
I just wanted to show off some original art that I have. Of course, these are probably all Joker stuff. So I got this from Alex Cormont. He did a Batman Day with a store actually paid him to draw free commissions for the customers.
Nice.
So there was a line going out. So he got paid. Plus he had his own books that were out. So he was like signing and selling his own books. He did this Dick Sprang inspired Joker for me.
Oh, nice.
I got this black and white Joker from an indie creator, Mike Jimmy De Bruin from the Netherlands did this one for me.
Nice. So I noticed you're at the Joker fan.
Yeah.
So you hardcore Joker fan.
Oh yeah. This one was gifted to me by artist Sean Howe, who I do a live stream tomorrow night around 11 p.m. Eastern
Nice.
with him, and he does live art, and we just do this and talk like nerd stuff. But he knew I loved Cesar Romero, so he sent me this original.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm more of a Penguin guy myself.
Well, I mean, he killed Burgess right there.
For sure.
He nailed that. And when I was moving, I found, since we talked Galactus earlier, I found these just 2 random squares that are actually the promo for Joe Satriani's Surfing with the Alien.
Oh, dope. That's awesome.
Luckily, I spent enough in record shops to. Hey, what are you doing with that when it's done?
You're right.
Right. You want it? I'll put your name on the back of it. Okay, cool.
Nice.
So I would take up home like standees and 8-foot high posters they would hang in the record store window and stuff. I'm like, cool.
That's another thing that's irritating nowadays. Like, I'm thinking like when Marvel does these big movies and they have these really cool displays at their Walmarts, and you try to say, hey, when you're done with that, and it's, oh no, we can't do that. We can't give them away. And then they just end up throwing them away anyway. That's irritating.
Yeah, they're supposed to destroy them in their shredders.
Yeah, it's
something afterwards.
That's irritating.
And you know what happens? Management usually takes them home.
Right. Because I remember, when Endgame came out, them Walmart displays were dope. They had the whole, and I just wanted the Iron Man, and I tried so hard at the Walmart, at the local Walmart, and they're like every time, nope. So frustrating.
Back in the day, I was working at a local department store that was like a chain store that had been around for like 100 years out here, and my step grandfather worked there in the warehouse, and I had to carry like a couple of like big boxes down for people, like ACs that they were buying, and I had to haul them down and help them carry them to their car. And while that was going on, 3 dudes walked in, went to the sporting goods department, picked up this big ass Coleman canoe, and walked out the door, and nobody questioned them.
Wow.
It was like a $900 canoe, paddles and all.
Wow.
Boom. And somebody started, security looked and actually looked back at the manager at the desk. He goes, no, they paid for that. Like, are you sure?
All right.
And the last words out of her mouth before she was fired was, do you really think somebody would come in here and walk out with a canoe over their head? It's not like they can sneak it out in their back pocket. Well,
they didn't have to do that.
They threw it in the back of the pickup and they screwed.
Right.
And then that woman was out of a job.
That's wild.
So you've got is it issue 4 that you're going to kickstart towards the end of the year?
Yeah, that was the plan. Yeah. I can't give too much away, but we might be going a different direction with that.
No, so I should badger Mike for that then.
Yeah. I mean, going with a new publisher, trying to fit a character into a new world kind of gives you a unique opportunity to rethink some stuff story-wise. And 2017, I was just so focused on getting a book out that the art quality, it was good for what I wanted. It did what I needed, what I wanted it to do, and I was able to get the book out. And nothing against the artist that did it, because he did good work. And I'm not saying that, but I always, now with Fish Lee doing issue 3 and doing issue 4, I'd like to see those earlier books have that same quality, because that issue 1. There's still a huge market out there. I have definitely have not reached all the people that I could reach with selling issue 1, and I want to have that same quality of art in issue 1. So we're rethinking some things. Not gonna rush anything. There will be a Kickstarter though, 4 or 5-star by the end of this year.
Yeah, between now and the end of the year, there will be some 5-star stuff available for sale.
Yes.
Through Kickstarter and conventions.
Yes, for sure.
So I was a little confused when I saw Mr. Fish on the on the stream, because the only Fish I knew used to get up from his desk like every 10 minutes to go to the bathroom.
Oh yeah,
but that was Barney Miller. So.
But yeah, I'm excited. I
like his art though. He's got some like great chops. I know you were just impressed by the fact that 5-star's hair was on point, but
yeah, yeah. Nah, I mean that's something. Ever since the original pinup that I had done at 5-star, it's just been a running theme. And when Fish started, I told him how important it was for it to happen, and he nailed it. He does really well with 5-star, and he's just so quick. That's another thing. He's just so fast at what he does, and he's good at what he does, and he brings his own creative element to the book. There's many times, he like where he read the script and he was like, hey, what if I did it this way or whatnot. So I think I'm more of just a hired gun. I think of Fish as a partner, especially now with he's gonna be the one who's continuing on with me with the series, and we're doing the podcast together now. So it's exciting stuff, man. It's exciting that in this world, in this indie community, that you can make friends like that you've only talked to like this. You know what I mean? That you haven't been in person. He's all the way in Arizona. I'm here in Ohio. We haven't met face to face, but through conversation and messaging back and forth and working on projects and stuff, we become really good friends. And I'm excited to see where this takes us.
And the way the world is now with the internet and the way comics are made now, it makes it like so much easier. You know, he can send pages to you and back and forth.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you're showing stuff to Mike and everybody else,
Right.
and it's going through the final phases. Next thing you know,
Boom.
you've wrapped up a project and you're going to print. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and last year not releasing anything 5-star related was tough. Because I was on such a roll, like I said, the first book I started in 2016 writing, come out with my first book 2017, and then boom, issue 2, then boom, issue 3, which is pretty good in the indie world. A lot of people struggle with just getting the one project out.
Yeah.
There's guys who've been doing this for a while who have, are still trying to get out that first book. I was just been blessed and lucky enough to meet, with the right person and also have the drive to want to get it out there. So, last year and even the beginning of this year, it's been tough not putting anything out. But at this point, it's like I was saying, we have this unique opportunity to where we're trying to put 5-star into this universe that they've already created with Hotshot. It's Hotshot's universe, it's Vigilance, they have Heroes International, there's just all this stuff. Maybe I have a group that monitors superhumans and they have their own group. So how do we we're turning my group to where it's just a branch of that group. So we're literally taking two comic world, because even, Mike and Danny will tell you, even though I just got 5-star out, I had a lot of lore with my stuff. I have a character named Captain Ultima who has been the big superhero in the past 5-star world for 75 plus years. So how do you take, and he's in issue 2 of 5-star. So how do you take a character like that and fit him into this world? And how we have not heard of him yet in the freestyle comics world? We want it to make sense. Some people are just like, oh, just throw them together and do a collab and make it happen. No, we want it to make sense to the readers. We want it to story to flow well. We want to make this world building work in a way that we think that readers can enjoy. So we've been spending some time together like this in a session, not live, but all of us have a Google document up that we can all write on, and we're just all typing away ideas on it and brainstorming back and forth, and all that sounds good. Write it down, and Mike will write something, and I'll go in and I'll leave a little note there of what I think with his stuff, and it's that work that'll pay off in the end. And I think it'll give something because Mike and Danny and the whole Freestyle Comics team, have put so much into that universe. There's so much little behind the scenes stuff that tie into all these issues. And even with Hotshot, 11 issues for an indie book is a lot. That's people aspire to get to that double digits. And not only has he got those out, but he's got Vigilance that's out. And like I said, Heroes International. And then all these books are connecting into this one big event. And they have so many issues planned out that it's crazy.
Well, not just that, but because he made too much money on the last Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Everybody that got behind that is getting the next issue of Hotshot for free.
Right. Exactly.
So now he's got to move on to well, I got to hurry up and get this book done because it's going to ship with this stuff, and then then he's got to move on to like the next chapter of something else and keep books flowing. They're just
so well prepared on stuff, that at a level that I haven't seen yet. They have books just in the chamber ready to go that have been paid for, that are just waiting. And it's a unique, it's a strategized plan of release. And I'm pretty sure as far as the release schedule goes, like they know what it is for the rest of this year and even going into next of what projects are going to be coming out. And there'll be a certain read order. Not only will you have like Heroes International 1, but you'll see a number underneath it that'll say, 11 on it, and that's the reading order for all the books that are coming out of the universe. That way, people are they're not just looking forward to that next Heroes International. They can look forward to the next title in this universe. So I love, for one, being someone who, when I first started, who was kind of on my own, and not having people to bounce ideas off like that. It's nice now to find a home like that, to where, like I said, we can get on in a session like this and just brainstorm and have, it's fun. It makes it more fun. It makes it, you have people who can tell you like, that's not a great idea, man. Like, you need to maybe rethink that. And they can reel you back in. Sometimes when we get ideas, we just want to run with them. But other people can be like, it's not, I don't think that, that flows right. So that bond that we're already creating there is dope, and it's fun. Like I said, to have that support. So I'm really looking forward to where 5-Star can go in this universe and the stuff that we can accomplish together.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it myself. I was one of the guys that didn't have any money during the last Kickstarter, and but when Mike and some of the other people got together and was doing the marathon thing, it's like, all you got to do is toss in $1.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna send you, like, I don't know, like 8 million like digital comics.
Right.
And,
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, here you go. Let me start you off. Here's $1.
yeah.
I had a $1 left. I had like $4 left in my account. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, here you go. I'm in.
And to attest to the number that he did, like you say, all that money on a Kickstarter. I mean, he puts the work in.
Oh yeah.
It's just, Hot Shot was in that Kickstarter was in your face for that whole 30 days. And it's not like the annoying in your face. You know what I mean? It's not like just the direct message is like, back my Kickstarter, back my Kickstarter, back my Kickstarter. It's creative things that reel people in. The promo that he was just doing, and I got to look. I got a chance to look at some of his Google documents that how he planned just every strategic move with the Kickstarter, and just how much stuff that he had just thought about before even hitting that launch button or putting it out there. And it's really inspiring. Really, it really made me want to up my game for sure. Like, okay, wow, like, my first Kickstarter with issue 1, we struggled to get over $1,200. And even issue 2 and 3 wasn't too far from that. And it's just, and that's mainly because I didn't know Kickstarter well enough. And I didn't know as much as I know now. And I took pieces from some stuff that people are doing. And, I never even, I see a lot of people now who are trying, before the Kickstarter even starts, they spend that pregame time trying to get people just to hit the notify button. Like, just, and I never even knew that was a thing before watching other people do it. So it's just so much stuff that goes into it. And it is a grind. I mean, people got to know that going in. If you're running a Kickstarter, I mean, it's stressful. There's ups, there's downs, there's that middle where you're not seeing anything coming in. So, you gotta really grind it out and be creative, because there's so many Kickstarters that are going out at the same time usually.
And for new people that think creating the campaign and laying it out with the action plan with Kickstarter or Indiegogo is stressful. Wait until you're successful, and then you have fulfillment.
Yeah, that's a whole nother animal. And as much as that 10,000 number sounds good, that's another, like you said, that's a whole nother element of work now that he's got to do to get all that stuff out. So it's a lot into it. And, a lot of people who maybe aren't into the business and they support books, they probably don't realize how much goes into that.
Yeah, it's it's just
Crazy.
amazing. And it's what got me with him doing so well on that last Kickstarter was the fact that these were just 2 trade compilations.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff
So
that already was out.
all this stuff was out, and we're just going to put them in 2 volume, in
Yeah.
2 single volumes, and market them out, and not for nothing, but trades and graphic novels are the best selling thing in Western comics.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lie. The best selling thing in Western comics is manga.
Yeah.
But for regular comics, that's it, because we have a binge society. We all want to binge our TV show. None of us wanted to wait a week in between episodes of The Mandalorian. We wanted to sit down and watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Starting Saturday morning after we had breakfast until it was over.
Right.
But we're so used to binging, with all these streaming apps.
Right.
And binging books, and I do that too. Like I'll pick up like my books from the LCS, and sometimes I'll wait until I've got a stack from like an entire year. There'll be a series that I really like, but it's not if I don't read it, it's not going to be like the end of the world. I'll get mad at myself while I'm reading them. I go, "Oh, this is so good. Why didn't I read this?"
Yeah.
But then I'll sit down, and over the course of like a weekend, I'll catch up like a whole year's worth of reading from that, or I'll read like like a new trade. I got the indie trade, Only Death Can Save Us from Russ Leach, and I got that in from the UK the other week, and I finally finished reading it, and it was a great read. It was like 80s and 90s cartoon stuff with a twist. It's the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, but they're actually the good guys saving Earth. So, well, why don't you let everybody know where they can follow you, and if you have any promote your show and everything, and we'll wrap this one up.
All right, cool, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. Again, thank you for dealing with the technical difficulties I was having. I was telling my wife it's so frustrating for me because like I would be frustrated if it was on 5 Star Friday, so I felt horrible. But again, thank you so much for having me on. You guys can find me at Tony Klapper on Facebook. I'm on the at the 5 Star Fam everywhere else, and then you can also find us at 5 Star Fridays everywhere else. That is our podcast that we do every Friday at 6:00, and we interview different creatives similar to this, and sometimes Fish does some live art. So hopefully you guys can tune into that. Other than that, Freestyle Comics, you can go on there, follow some of the comic book stuff that we're going to be releasing as a team, and that's pretty much it.
Well, Tony, or AKA the Clapback Kid.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming and hanging out, and we'll look forward to see what 5 Star and Hot Shot have coming up in the near future by the end of the year here.
For sure. Thank you.
And thanks once again, and have a good night. And I'll try to pop in and do my hails on Friday.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right. Take care.
Peace.